ANN Audiobooks and the Maester Alliance present On Communism by Pooch 12. Editor's note: this is an incomplete work which was never finished by the original author. However, it is an Auroran classic, and as such, ANN decided to produce it. Table of Contents, Part 1, Here Goes Nothing. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 2, Into the Eastern Bloc. Chapter 3, The Communist Underbelly. Part 2, My Account. Chapter 4, The Horrors of New Leningrad. Chapter 5, Why We Must Stop the Spread. Part 1, Here Goes Nothing. Chapter 1, Introduction. It was a placid day in June that I decided to venture into the Eastern Bloc. Communist pundits all over our civcraft trumpeted the supposed glories of their land, the beauties of their cities and landscapes, and the supposed freedom their people enjoyed. As someone who studied Stalinist Russia, I knew that the leaders of communist nations often lied about how good their countries were and silenced dissenters any way they could. So I decided that I would uncover the truth, and do it in the only way I could. I would personally visit New Leningrad and see how it really was. Chapter 2, Into the Eastern Bloc. I gathered my essentials and headed for the rail station. A slight sense of dread crept over me as I climbed into my cart and headed east on the rails. The first stop, though a capitalist town, was Fellowship. It was a grand hexagon, a massive feat of engineering, covered with shops. Begrudgingly, I got on the rail and continued east toward Centauri. Along the way, a sign marked the entrance to the Eastern Bloc. Eventually, I arrived at Centauri. Centauri's a bleak town that might as well be a spruced-up boulder field, because there was nothing but stone for as much as I could see. Bleak, state-owned apartments dotted the town, and it seemed that a few private houses existed, but they were almost certainly constructed by the state. Walking around, it seemed like a rather bleak town, except without any trade. And then I came across the house of Sand Falls, a notable communist pundit. His house stuck out like a sore thumb, and the first thing I thought of was a farmhouse from Animal Farm, where Napoleon the pig lived. It had clearly been constructed by Sand Falls himself, and was an ornate modern house. The house was locked, being private property, but looking in a window, I could see what no other person in the block could dream of, yet was commonplace in the richer, thriving capitalist cities. I moved on to New Leningrad, expecting something not much worse. I was wrong. Chapter 3, The Communist Underbelly. Editor's note: sadly, this is where the work ends. No full edition has ever been found.